Kimmy, why 13 years later are you doing this right now?
Well, I'm doing this now because there's a calling on my life. I mean, as a minister, and then also to affect affect change in the Portland area. And I knew I couldn't affect change in this area with this hanging over my head. I mean, because everywhere I would drive, and if police got behind me, it'd be like, oh, Lord. I mean, I got a license and insurance, but I got a warrant.
How do you go 13 years living elsewhere without getting picked up or and held? Or I mean, how did you get by this far without somebody making you turn yourself in?
Well, Portland, I got in trouble in California once. To make short story short, it was an assault thing. I hit a guy for disrespecting my wife, and at the Olive Garden, and Portland didn't want to come get me. So I mean, I did 30 days for that, but I had found out that I had the warrant then. But I was like, well, is there something I can do to get it off of me without having to come back home? And inevitably, what they said was no. And that was after the fact. That was after I went followed my wife to Texas. And man, I tried to do all I could to try to take care of it long distance, and it just wasn't going to happen. And that's when I heard about Project Clean Slate, and I was like, well, let me email him and see, what could be done. And he emailed me back and was, the thing about Roy J, he was inviting. I mean, I didn't feel threatened, and I felt as if he really, truly, genuinely had my best interests at heart, and God put him in my life, and I thank God for it, Roy J, because he's one of the reasons why I'm here today.
Sir, a couple people came up and whispered to you after you did your presentation. What were they saying?
This is my hometown. I was born and raised here, and they were like, man, I'm proud of you, and when all this is said and done, whatever you need, don't hesitate to call us. And I mean, it touches my heart, because to have been gone for 13 years, the Timothy that left in 1999 really no longer exists. It's a new me, but this is an old thing that I'm getting rid of. So it's in order for me to move forward, I had to get rid of this part of my past.
How did you get involved, or where did you feel that your life started to take a turn in a bad direction, and what all did you end up, you mentioned assault and possession of a firearm, were there other things as well?
Oh yeah, well, I can remember in grade school doing burglaries. I mean, I was a good student, but was hanging around the wrong folks, and it just escalated from that to selling marijuana, and from that to just robberies and armed robberies and womanizing and embezzling and racketeering and just dope dealing, thought I was a pimp, which, I mean, wow. And that's the weird thing about it for me, because, I mean, a lot of these things were abilities that I could use in corporate America and make a good living. I mean, salesmanship. And, I mean, I think that my cup kind of runneth over with it. And I took that very thing and actually did make a good living with it. you know, my salesmanship. And it took me leaving Portland for it to happen. I guess there's a thing called me time, you know. I needed some me time. And for me to really get the kind of me time I needed, I had to get away from the familiar and had to basically depend on me. And I guess when I had left in 1999, that was the signal God was giving me to, okay, I'm going to take you through another season in your life and allow for you to experience what it is your gifting is.
Has it been that long since your last offense?
Let's see. My last offense, it was the incident in California with the Olive Garden thing. And I mean, I had another little 3-month offense in Texas that I went to work for a company that paid me with a bogus check and ended up losing everything. And see, that was another thing. When I was in Texas and went through that, I lost my house. I had no one in Texas. I had an ex-wife, but I wasn't going to go to her for help. And I lost my house, lost my clothing, lost family heirlooms. And when I got done with that little episode, I left out of that penitentiary. They do it as state jail time. And I left out there with just the clothes on my back.
When was that?
Wow, that was 2008.
Do you have any kids?
I have a son, yeah. I have a son and 2 grandkids here in Portland. And that was the other thing. I wasn't really much of a father to him, you know, and it really kind of hurt him. I really don't want to divulge his name, you know, but it really kind of hurt him. But I know that he's let his kids know about me, and I would like to be a part of their lives, and I'm working on that, you know, because it's a new me, and though I can't really change my past, I can control the present and the future, which is where I'm at today.
Where's the future going to take you? Do you have an idea of what's going to come out of this? You going to do time or probation, or what do you think? You know.
Well, I think that God is going to allow for me to just get away with this with a slap on the wrist. Because the woman that could really straighten all this out is no longer here. It was her house, and that's where the gun was found. You know, but because she was my wife, well, ex-wife, and I was her husband, well, ex-husband, they was like, well, you can't be around the gun, you know, and why is this gun in the house? And she could explain why the gun was there, but she's no longer here, you know, and
so you think you're going to spend the night tonight in jail and then do court tomorrow and hopefully be able to clear it up?
Yeah, hopefully.
That's the hope.
Yeah, that's the hope, and it's like.
I'll sort of interject because nothing has been promised.
Nothing's been promised.
This is going to be up to the court. It's going to be up to the judicial system. It's going to be up to a judge. I've seen people that have came in and got out on recog waiting for trial. He may be able to get out on bail, but we don't know exactly what the court is going to do at this point. So we don't want to lead anybody to believe that the district attorney's office is just going to give him a slap on the wrist and he's going to walk away. You know, he came 2,200 miles to surrender. He's ready to take whatever consequences are going to be coming at him.
Because I had talked to the DA when I was in Texas, and I was like, is there anything I could do to correct this thing while I'm here in Texas? And he was like, no, you have to come to Portland. And I was like, well, okay, you know. And then again, when I had the opportunity not to just come here to correct that, but again, I feel like my calling and can help someone to not make the same mistake I made. You know, and I think that's going to help. It's going to help somebody. Somebody is going to be helped.
How? I mean, in the way, what do you want somebody to learn from you? Is it?
Well, if I could, in the perfect world, I would want them to learn that, okay, the mistakes that I made were stupid, you know, and I wish I would have focused more on using my giftings instead of in the criminal world to use them in the corporate world, and we wouldn't be here today. I mean, because I had thought that, you know, the criminal world was intriguing, and you know that it was something that brought a certain air of excitement, you know, to be able to beat the system, so to speak, with drugs. Because I never really, on the drug part of it, I never really got caught up in the judicial system in that part. And I mean, I destroyed a lot of lives. I mean, with the amount of drugs that I dealt in the streets of Portland. And I wouldn't wish that on nobody. I mean, you know, I wish I'd have focused that same energy into, like I did in California, selling cars, you know, or the mortgage business. I mean, you know, because the same amount of energy that it took to do those illegal things, I could have did some legal things and been just as well off, you know, because I had that kind of passion in me.
Sense of relief right now, or nervousness?
I'm still kind of nervous. I mean, you know, I'm kind of nervous, but I guess after the first tear was shed, it was like, okay, I do feel a release, you know, because now I know that the next time I get behind my wheel of my car, I don't have to worry about the police. I'll be able to call Roy J. and be like, hey, you know, where's the next meeting at? Can I come and sit down with you somewhere and try to get educated on what to do to try to help the youth in the community? Because we have a non-profit organization, me and my brother, Golden Opportunity Youth Association. And he's had it, it's been in existence since 1989 out of California. But he can't really run it anymore because he has MS and Alzheimer's. But you know, the weird thing about it is whenever he talks about the youth organization, it's like he has no illness. And it's like, well, if I can help the organization to grow and give him a sense of belonging still to the org, because he's going to always be the face of the organization. But if I can help it to grow and keep him implanted in the forefront, man, I think it might help him to overcome his illness. Cause
we're going to take maybe one more question before we get out of here, because he has a date at the Hilton Hotel. Well, it's almost like the Hilton. It's almost like the Hilton.
Was there any one person in your life, like one person's influence, that helped you make this decision? Was there somebody that came into your life that changed your life for the better?
That changed my life. Well, my brother Danny. Yeah, that would be my brother Danny Mayo. Yeah, because I mean, he has always been there. I mean, through good, bad, or indifferent, trying to instill into me, hey, you can do it. You know, all you have to do is put your best foot forward, and I have the utmost faith in you. And when he gave me the opportunity to do the youth organization, I mean, it was a no-brainer for me because I was already being led by God. And then when my brother presented me with that opportunity, it was like, okay, let's make it happen. But the only reason I accepted that calling was because I said to myself, okay, we can make it happen, but it has to be important. You know, and that's, for it to be important, I had to get this off of me as well. And I said after the fact that this would be a good thing because you lead by example. And so, I mean, I'm trying to set a good example.